the all-new Yamaha V6 Offshore F350. It's a featherweight knockout, the lightest 350 horsepower outboard on the water, exhilarating boating and incredible control in a powerfully light design. The Yamaha V6 Offshore F350.
We got a lot this week. We have a preview of the May issue, the glossy of the Fisherman magazine. We have the Dreamboat and Coastal Kayak Clash overview, that big fluke season opener coming up. And we have some reports from our correspondents and some tips on what you need to go on 4x4 beaches this season.
The fishing news is sponsored by these fine partners.
Today is April 25th, and the fishing news of the week, well, actually in a little less than 2 weeks, is fluke season opens up. That's May 4th to be exact. It's going to run to August 1st at 19 inches. Then from August 2nd to October 15th, it's going to go up to 19.5 inches. These are final. It's going to be 3 fish per person as well. Know your regulations this year because they did change. Keep up to date, and looking forward to that fluke season. The latest issue of Fisherman magazine, that glossy issue for May, is out now. We have the CKC, that's the Coastal Kayak Clash, is back for 2024. The Old Town Sportsman is the main prize. It's outfitted by yakattack.com. Second place will be that Humminbird Helix 7 fish finder. And third place, it's going to give you $500 in your pocket. A lot of other prizes as well from Daiwa and Yozuri. If you fish from a kayak and you're a Fisherman subscriber, you're eligible to be a part of this contest. You got to catch one of the 8 qualifying species, photograph them next to a flat ruler showing the Fisherman tag with your kayak clearly visible to get on the leaderboard. This kayak-only tournament kicks off on May 1st and it ends November 30th. Get the details at thefisherman.com. This one's by Angelo Peluso. Awesome story. You like big stripers? You like fly rodding? You like using big flies to big stripers? Check out Godzilla flies for King Kong stripers. Then we have Spring Finesse, top weakfish plastics. We're already getting reports of them. Some of these plastics are outside the box ones you may not know about. I wrote this story up. Check this one out for those weakfish that are just showing up now. Then up next, we have a spring open boat special from Jenni. This one's on blackfish, tips, tricks, tactics. Check this one out.
Hey everyone, welcome to this week's Open Boat. Today we are here at the fillet table. We're not filleting fish, but we're talking fish. So we're going into some tips and tricks on targeting my favorite species, but in the spring. My favorite species to fish for, drum roll please, is the blackfish, of course. So targeting blackfish in the spring is a little bit different compared to targeting them in the winter months. And there's some factors that get affected into it. Where are they hanging out at? You know, they migrate offshore, are they hanging out inshore? What are they feeding on? What's their spawn pattern? Like, how are they acting to that? There's a ton of different factors, of course, with every species as they go through the different cycle of months that affect them year-round. So, going into the specifics of targeting spring run blackfish, first off is the type of bait you want to use and how that bait affects the type of rig / jig that you use. It doesn't really affect the jig, it will affect the rig. So, going into the type of bait you want to use, specifically like in the spring, blackfish have softer lips, so they don't want to be crunching down on a crab because of that hard shell. So what are you going to use instead? You're going to use soft baits. What type of soft baits are you going to use? You can do sandworms, you can do cooked shrimp, and you could do salted clams. So you can go to your local tackle shop and get yourself some salted clams and some worms, and you can even go to Wegmans and get yourself some shrimp. Make sure you don't eat it. Save it for your blackfish trip. So since I have the clams here, I'm going to show you an easy way to rig them up. Of course, if you're a jig fisherman, you just pop a little piece on your jig and toss it down, but you know, us ladies over here, we gotta stay classy and fish a rig. So I'm gonna show you just a simple rig to tie that you can use for spring blackfish. So I have the rig right here. You can see it, it's just a doubled snell hook right here. You got your owner hooks, space out like this far apart with your loop tied up at the top, and you can attach that to your top shot. And of course, if you do a Belmar rig, wrap your stinker around and you're all good to go. So since I have these delicious surf clams here, we're gonna fish out 2 perfect primo pieces of salted clam. So the type of pieces you want to use for specifically this type of rig, they look like this. Looks like a good old snot loogie right there with the little sucker piece at the top. Clam anatomy, we know. So you're gonna take this bottom hook, you're gonna hook it through that fatty section of the clam just like that, easy peasy. Now some guys, if you're using like a snafu rig, they'll take that second hook and put it through that clam. I like to do the more the merrier. I will fish out a second little piece of clam snot and hook it on that same piece, and you just have a delicious clam string rig right there ready for you to drop down to the bottom. And what's cool about using clam or soft baits in the spring, especially on the boat, is the bycatch. Don't even get me started about all the cod you can get, even some ling. Like, you get a trifecta day out there fishing on a party boat. You get blackfish, you get cod, and you get ling. A delicious spread to have take home to dinner. Like, I'm just getting so excited thinking about it. I'm literally starving at the thought. Not so much starving at the look of these salted clams, but the ling, blackfish, and cod sounds absolutely delicious right now. So the bite going into using this type of soft bait rig here is gonna be a little bit different compared to a crab bite. Of course, the blackfish, they still have their terrible teeth that orthodontists would love to work on. They will crunch up a crab bite by bite. That gives you the traditional little tap, tap, tap bite that you'll get in the winter. But if you're using a clam, as you drop this down and you're waiting for your bite, you can picture good old Tony Soprano slurping up some spaghetti, because that's basically what the blackfish are gonna do. A lot of the times when you're fishing a soft bait like the clam, they'll literally slurp up the clam and swim off with your rig. So you'll feel them literally swimming away, and that's when you set the hook. So basically that's just a little rundown on the type of rigs that you'd wanna be using if you're targeting spring blackfish, and the types of baits. And of course, make sure you follow all the rules and regulations for every species you target, and specifically remember their spawn season. Especially if you catch a big female out there, you may want to consider releasing her. See you guys on next week's Open Boat.
It's also that time of the year we're starting to put our trucks on the beaches, the 4x4 state park beaches. You got to have some stuff in order if you want to be on those beaches. Some of it is mandatory, some of it is recommended. Let's run through that list. Now, the needed stuff. You need this stuff: a portable toilet, a tow rope, tow chain jack, a jack board, shovel, approved tires, spare tire, maximum of 35 inches in diameter by 12.5 inches in width, and a tire gauge that's capable of registering a minimum of 5 psi. Those are the needed items. These are some extra safety items that the state does recommend: a cell phone, which most of us do have, a fire extinguisher, a tire inflation device, a CB radio, a toolkit, flashlight, first aid kit, some garbage bags, and gallons of water. If you do plan on going on the state park beaches this year, please keep these items in your truck. You need some of them, and a lot of them are recommended. All right, let's head over to the upcoming events. We got a few of them coming up. May 4th, District 3 boating course. That's the Peconic Bay Squadron. That's located at the Port of Egypt Marina. May 9th, another boating course. This one is the Great South Bay Squadron, located at the West Islip Marina. Then on May 18th is the Freeport Tuna Club annual fishing flea market. It's at the Freeport Tuna Club Marina. For more information on that, call 516-434-1423. All right, we're going to head on over to our map. I'm going to let you know what we are hearing from the past week. Chris, he's from the Montauk Anglers Club. He let me know that the first schoolies were caught by him himself on the open beach in Montauk. That may be Ditch Plains, the Sand Beach, the schoolies all over the place over there. They also had some fish on the East Hampton stretch on the Sand Beach, and that was to the west of them. Some blackfish have made a move to the north side of the point in the shallower water. They've been hitting baits like clam, but the crabs are working too. And we got Kenny over at Tight Lines Tackle in Southampton. He let me know that there have been bass under the Sag Harbor Bridge inside Peconic Bay, Shinnecock Canal, and Towed Point Channel. Said the back of the Sag Harbor Cove has had some bass as well, along with 3 Mile Harbor. Mike at Saltwaters in West Islip, he said there's been some good reports of stripers roaming Great South Bay on both the north and the south sides. The north side of the bay, bridges have been key, local creeks have been good, all in the Islip, Babylon, Lindenhurst area. Said some hot spots were the Moses Bridge in the Fire Island Inlet area. Said the blackfish action was okay in the bay, with some anglers reporting a few keepers on the bridge pilings. Then, over on the King Cod out of Capt, I did hear from Captain Joe. He said there's been some ups and downs this week with the fishing. They did have good trips on Tuesday and Saturday with big blackfish up to 8 pounds. Nice fish, and some cod to 14 pounds. Luann at Babylon Fishing Station, she told me the only stuff she heard of was that there was some codfish being caught on the Oregon wreck out in the ocean. Bill over at Combs, he told me not much has changed the past week. Says some decent catch at tog at the local bridges. Water's about that 51-degree mark. There's been some blackfish, 18 inches. They were taken at the 3rd Wantaw Bridge. He also said the ocean togging saw a mix of shorts and keepers with ling. Some cod in the mix as well. About 100 to 110 feet deep for them. Bass action is still building up day by day. More stripers are showing up in the back bays. Umbrella rigs in the east and west channels and the state channel. Trolling has been great over by Tanner Park and the Amity Cut. LA Outdoorsman in Rockville Center. They told me there's been some bass invading the bays and in good numbers too. That means Jamaica Bay. Anglers have been connecting with a few weakfish. Those weakfish are showing up as well. Heading the opposite direction down to the North Fork. Craig from Wego, he's in Southold. He said there's been some weakfish in Peconic Bay already. Squid strips, high-lows, that's been the best bet for them. Some squid are also being taken in the lights under the Greenport docks. There's been some bunker. There has been a lot of bunker around, but there are seen some bunker inside Peconic Bay, and there's been some stripers up to 20 pounds on them. Then over Miller Place, Jim, he let me know that there's been blackfish in about 20 to 30 feet of water in front of Cedar Beach. Both getting them on clams, worms, crabs. They've all been working. Stripers being taken from sound beaches. That means Mount Sinai Harbor, Cedar Beach, those areas. Back at the harbor, he did say the best time to go is the outgoing tide. Rubber sheds have been the key. Then at North Country in St. James, he said there's been some flounder around. Billy 11, Port Jefferson, he said there's been some keepers up to 1.5 pounds. Did say John Sebastian dropped the line as well in front of Mount Sinai, 30 feet of water. Nailed some blackfish up to about 3 pounds. I got these pictures in. Alex Mayer and the crew from Westlake in Montauk. They said they had their first blackfish trip of the season, and they did pretty good by the looks of it. Then 40 feet in front of Execution Rock aboard the Crazy Lady. This was a 50-pounder that Andrew Mallon caught. Was it the first 50 of the year? Maybe so. But he did send me this picture. Congratulations, Andrew. If you do have a notable catch, send it over to mbroderick at thefisherman.com. I'll try and get it into the magazine or the reports. Meteorologist Rich Von Ohlen, his report is sponsored by Premium Bucktails. Rich.
Hey, thanks, Matt. Let's check that weekend forecast. You can always check your favorite apps, weather tools, weather sites, whatever you got. This is a general heads-up, general overview on the upcoming weekend across Long Island. So I did get out. A little fishing report early last week in the back bays, southwest Nassau County, some of the creeks and channels, and still doing the snap jig and getting some decent bass. There's a few nice ones back there between 27 and 28 inches, and hitting the snap jigs. These are the premium bucktails I've been talking about. They work very well. Saw a few other anglers in some of the channels using spoons and other methods, but I tell you, I swear by these bucktails. They work very well. The snap jigging's a great technique. Check it out online, and you can always check out premiumbucktails.com to get yours. They're a good product, and you just got to find the bait, find the fish, and you should have some luck there. Not loaded, not stacked, but there's a few back there. But you get into them, it's a lot of fun. So water temps slowly coming up, 40s, 50s. I had about 55, 56, some of the back channels when I was fishing there. Friday looks good, good weather, a little southeast breeze. Saturday looks good. Nice looking weekend overall in terms of wind. There'll be some clouds and some showers, looks like on Sunday. But that's about it. South wind about 5 to 10 Saturday, very fishable in the ocean and the sound, looks good. A little rain, a little cloud cover on Sunday, maybe about 10 to 15 in the afternoon. Saturday waves about 2 to 4, 1 to 2 in the sound. A little chopped up in the evening. Saturday will be earlier, the best part of the day. Late in the day looks a little rough. And then Sunday should settle down a little bit. So I think we'll be in good shape if you do some stuff this weekend. Temps 50s on Saturday, 60s, a little warmer on Sunday. This is the Wind Guru, one of my go-to apps and sites for weather. And you can see Friday there. The arrows going southeast to east, so, not bad, 5 to 10, 5 to 15. Saturday, southwest doesn't look too bad, 5 to 10, 5 to 15. A little gusty Saturday evening, so if you're going to do some fishing, you may want to be aware of that. And then it settles down again on Sunday. Looks good. So overall, good weekend weather deal. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all days look pretty good. Just watch out for that gusty breeze Saturday afternoon. Other than that, nice fishable weekend to get those bass, last shot of tog, and before you know it, we'll be catching some of those flukes. So catch them up. Have a great weekend. Be safe as always. Matt, back to you.
We're going to check in with Captain Timothy O'Rourke from Montauk. Tim.
Thank you, Matt. Well, greetings, everybody. I'm here at Orient Point, getting one last weekend of skiing in before I start fishing. Boat went in the water yesterday. Speaking of fishing, the Viking fleet did their Gulf of Maine trip last week. They did really well up there. A bunch of hake, pollock, barrelfish, wolffish. They had a handful of cod, but they weren't allowed to keep them, so they released them. Codfish locally, there was one boat that got out on Tuesday. I believe they were east by Block Island. They had a handful of cod. And the Miss Montauk is going offshore this weekend for tilefish. Regarding striped bass, we've been catching some smaller striped bass here in Montauk, and we're getting some bigger striped bass as well. So that should start kicking in. I did get a report of a 35-pounder on the beach locally, so that's a good sign for what's ahead to come. All right, everybody, have a good weekend. Weather's looking good. Get your boats ready and try to do some fishing.
From Shinnecock, let's check in with Mike Dean.
Thanks, Matt. Hey, everyone. Striper fishing still going on out here. Last week got a little tough with some of the weather, but there are fish around, and it's only going to get better from here. Predominantly a back bay bite, soft plastics, gravity eels, bass assassins, curly tails, anything that's kind of mimicking those spearing that are showing up, glass eels. There is some peanut bunker around. We got into a couple of smaller fish, Eastern Mauritius Inlet yesterday on storm shads and bucktails, so that was encouraging. Today, made a trip out of the area to Jamaica Bay. We're on rockfish for a charter, myself, my son, and some buddies, and even though the wind was honking pretty good, we were able to find bunker, live lining bunker. We got into some nice fish, few overs, number of slots. I don't think there were any that were under, so really a good day, and Adrian, Felix, and the rockfish are top notch. If you're looking to fish that area, definitely hit them up. You cannot book them, though, for Friday, June 7th, for the Manhattan Cup, because he's my captain and Felix is our mate, and for my team, for Team Rockfish. So looking forward to that. If you haven't registered yet, register either as, for a team or as a captain looking to take out a team of veterans, anglers entering, on their own, and sponsors that we have. Unbelievable day. We're getting 50 to 60 veterans out to expose them to fishing on their road to healing. It's a pretty amazing thing to be part of. So hit me up with any questions that you might have. ManhattanCup.com is the site. Speaking of some of those sponsors, no live bait needed. Once again, unbelievably generous with a product donation. I got this box from them last week that's going to be included in a raffle. This thing is chock full of goodies. Very thankful for their support. Once again, they've become such a big part of our fishing community, and they just keep pushing the limit with their products that are just getting everybody on bigger and bigger fish. So looking forward to fishing more of their stuff, fishing the Manhattan Cup. I hope you will too. And get out there and fish. Let us know how you do. All right, thanks. Back to you, Matt.
From Northport, the Cow Harbor Bait and Tackle report.
Hey, folks, it's great to see you again this week. I'm hanging out here doing rod repairs all the time, so if you ever want to come down and see me, I'm at the Hillside shop most days. And it's a great place to just hang out and talk. It's definitely a chill out atmosphere over here. Huntington, for the most part, Northport, right down to the river, has seen a mix of fishing. The name of the game has been blackfish. That's fantastic. We're looking for porgy to start migrating in. Striped bass has been on and off. I haven't seen any weakfish yet. No signs of bluefish on the North Shore as far as our area goes. But the bite is really heavy to the west. We're really looking for some of these fish to start coming down. But I think those fish that migrate down from the Hudson River are still in the Hudson River. We're not really seeing them here yet. And then that would really turn on out in the areas like, Buoy 15, 28C, out by 11B. And then, of course, they're going to migrate as they do. You're looking at those folks with the concept passes. Get your stuff ready. You should be down there checking out structure because the fishing is really going to light up. It's going to happen in the back of the harbors again. We saw like a heavy flow of fish come in the beginning. And then as the temperatures cool down again, they seem to chill out. Night bites set in. And now with these sunny temperatures, we're looking for fish to start moving into the back and create like a day bite, morning bite. That's great for people. You can fish off the docks, the beach. Haven't seen a lot of boats in yet. They're going to be targeting porgies. And again, the blackfish bite is just out of control. You should get out on a head boat, get down to the beach, get some crabs, worms, or clams, and give it a try because they're in shallow, they're here, and it's a lot of fun. Remember, we don't have a whole lot of time for spring blackfish season, so you sit on your butt, you don't get a chance to go out and have a great time. Other fish in the area, loads of shrimp. I saw a big shrimp spawn again. It seems like our adult bunker came in, they were big and fat, and they spawned and they split. So right now, looking at really small like juvenile bunker right now. So let's look for some more stuff to happen. The porgies, they move in on them. It's no mistake. And we're coming on this full moon. So I'm looking for fishing, the tides to kick up, really nice tides for our fishing experience. So it's going to be fantastic. Again, thanks for everyone who comes down to the Hail Shot shop and chills out with me. I really appreciate it. Makes the day go by. And I'm always doing rod repairs. So maybe you come and you'll learn something. As always, I bid you all peace and tight lines.
Back again, you notice familiar face. We have Hawaiian Dan.
Aloha, friends. I'm Hawaiian Dan with TalkFishTV.com reporting from the central North Shore of Long Island. The Port Jefferson Harbor boat ramp is still closed for renovations and it doesn't appear it's going to be open anytime soon. Maybe the end of May or early June if we're lucky, which causes many of us to miss the spring season. Fortunately for me, I have an inflatable Fish Sup 126 from SeaEagle.com that keeps me on the water and gives me quick and easy access to just about anywhere. Grass shrimp and tiny rain bait in the 1/2 inch to 1.5 inch sizes are still in, and this season, the entire season, I'm throwing NLBNs. This time the 3-inch paddle tail with matching 3/8 ounce jig heads. Now, I have more baits on the way with jig heads in the 1/4 and 1/8 ounce sizes, and I'll report on how those perform next week. Their jig heads have BKK super strong and sharp hooks, which are extremely hard to find in such a small profile, and the soft baits thread tightly into place. Now the bite has slowed down for me during the first half of this week when the rain and the cold weather pushed in, and I averaged only 1 to 3 stripers per session in the 25 to 26.5 inch class. However, things should heat up as the water settles and we welcome warmer weather heading into the weekend. So get off those couches, grab a buddy, and get out there and fish. If you have any questions, be sure to hit me up by searching Hawaiian Dan or TalkFishTV.com. Until next time, stay safe out there, look out for one another, and keep spreading that aloha!
From the Fire Island area in Great South Bay, Captain Al Lorenzetti.
Hey Matt, Fire Island fishing, things are starting to happen. I had 3 nice slot-sized fish, striped bass, a couple of days ago on plugs. I know some fish were caught on clam chum. So the water's going to start warming up here. We have a warm week coming, and I think the bite's going to get better. So it's excellent right now. I heard actually off of Jersey there's tuna fish. Giants happening, so they're going to move our way too. So I think things are going to get good in the next week or two, Matt, so I'm looking forward to some future reports, and we'll keep you posted.
With the Fly and Freshwater Report, Paul McCain from River Bay Outfitters.
Hello, Matt. Well, this has been an incredible week. I have to tell you, I've been doing a lot of guiding out of the Cayak Pond. Boy, the rainbows are really getting ready to spawn. And unfortunately, it's only females, so there will never be any natural reproduction on the rainbows. There is on the brook trout, but they're starting to get ready to spawn, so they're not really that interested in eating. But there are still some that haven't got to that point, or they're not mature enough and you can catch them. But you got to really work hard, change your flies. Sometimes it's very small flies. Sometimes you got to annoy them with a woolly bugger. Egg-sucking leech works really well. There's a lot of things. I was very fortunate to be invited by the Art Flick chapter of Trout Unlimited to come out and help. They had the Ward Melville Patriots Fishing Club out there fishing, and they asked me if I would come and help them out, and I said sure. My wife and I went out, and I was paired up with this young man named Rocco. Listen, let me tell you, Rocco, he's I think 10 or 11, but he's an incredible fisherman. He is obsessed. And you know what? His casting is pretty good. You know, normally boys, I like to think around 12 years old, but he was really good, really focused. He landed a couple of really nice ones. He hooked into some really monsters. So he really did well. It was a great day. My wife and I enjoyed it, just to be out on a beautiful day like that. The good news is we are really getting into a weather pattern where it's going to be warming up a little bit, and it doesn't look like a lot of rain in the next week or so. As long as the wind stays down, I would do some saltwater fishing, because why? Stripers are everywhere around the island. Granted, the bigger ones are more to the west, but they're showing up all over the island. And I know people that have been catching them on the North Shore, the South Shore. The key is you got to get out there and fish, you know, when you can. And so until next week, tie lines, everybody.
Let's check in with Chris Landry.
Thanks, Matt. Fishing has been a lot slower right now than the last couple of years. I've been talking to the bunker guys. They've all been complaining about how bad the bunker has been. I did notice this weekend there was a lot more bunker than the last couple weeks. Before it was very spread out, hard to snag them, hard to net them. So there is more bait moving in. There should be more fish moving in, hopefully. The fish seem to be moving from Raritan to Jamaica Bay, but it is a tough bite. You can get on them on mostly live bunker using a circle hook. They're also hitting spoons. I've had very little luck on other lures, no live bait needed and such, because they're really keyed in on these adult bunker. Also, Mr. Poseidon just had his 3rd annual Striper Challenge. Check his Instagram or YouTube show for the winners and details of that challenge. And Fishing the Atlantic has their Gypsy charter on May 11th, which is going to be a great group of guys. I think there's still a couple slots, so hit up Calvin at Fishing the Atlantic to get your spot on the May 11th Gypsy charter. Other than that, I do hope that there's a big push of stripers soon with the bait coming in. There's no reports of bluefish yet. Let me know if you're catching any bluefish. And hopefully it turns on, because it's been pretty rough start. So thank you, and back to you, Matt.
We're going to check in with Max Finch from the Connecticut side of the Western Sound.
Hey everyone, Max here from Fisherman's World with another local fishing report. Me and Lauren just got back in. We checked out our local deep water reefs like 11B, 28, south of Greens. The fish are in. We beat them up pretty good on flutter spoons. We have, pretty good sized schools of stripers on our deep water reefs. During the slower part of the tides, they were coming up and they were chasing bunker. But the fish are definitely in, and it's really good. For this early right now in our backyard, we had fish up to 25 pounds today, which is nice to see. We lost a couple more decent fish. I know they're still getting really good fish to the west. That's just going to keep improving as we move into May and as the fish run up the Hudson to spawn. And then in our freshwater rivers, we're seeing a lot of trout action. Mianus is fishing well, North River's fishing really good, and the Saugatuck. The Saugatuck Reservoir, we've seen a lot of nice smallmouth bass action already. We've seen some walleye and some decent trout up to like 6 pounds. The blackfish bite is still pretty good early. We're not carrying crabs right now, but sandworms and clams. We just weighed a 10.5 pounder in yesterday, caught on a sandworm, so that's pretty cool. I was actually right off of North Cap Pasture Beach Pier. And as we, progress on the backside of this moon, we should see, with these tides, more fish coming through our deep water reefs and starting to flood into our harbors and around the islands. Thanks and good luck.
Captain Mike Century brings us the latest from Staten Island.
Thanks, Tim and Matt. Hope all is well. Well, guys, Mike Century here, as always. Well, it's been a couple of weeks. I haven't done a report, so I'll make this short and sweet. Bass sucks. The Raritan Bay, this is probably one of the worst Aprils in about 13, 14 years that I have seen myself. With that said, the temperature is rising in the bay. There's no bunker, and if there is, it's very little amount of bunker. Seems like omega proteins are the one responsible for the shortage of pretty much bait and menhaden and everything else. I'm over here on my boat cruising, well, not cruising, fishing. So got it on autopilot. Haven't seen much of anything. I'm over here trolling, show you guys real quick. Trolling a few 130s on that side and on that side. Nice ballyhoo that I wanted. I broke the cardinal rule. That's fishing on a full moon the day before and the day after. Something I never tried to do. But the weather's finally nice. It's not raining. There's been a few giant bluefin tuna caught. The biggest was by Kevin. I believe his last name is Goldberg. He got one that was 719 2 days ago. So that was pretty impressive. So see what happens. Other than that, that's about it, guys. So see you around.
Ben Gilmour's got the latest from Capos, Costa Rica.
Guys, how's it going? This is Ben from down here in Costa Rica. I got my buddy Jake with me today, all the way from Boston, Massachusetts, 16 years old, fishing down with me here in Costa Rica. How's it going, buddy?
Good, how are you?
Awesome, awesome. How's the fishing right now in Costa Rica? What's been going on?
Some tuna, some sailfish. There's a tournament, 42 boats from 20 different countries.
Wow, yeah, guys, I forgot to mention, we got the Offshore World Championships happening right now. So more than 20 countries, 42 boats. Jake here is staying in the official hotel and the Parador for the tournament. And just great to see anglers from all over the world here in Costa Rica. What's happening inshore along the beaches and the rocks right now?
Inshore, we got some rooster fish action. Don't know much else about it though.
Yeah, the roosters have been biting good. Just yesterday we got a 25 pounder, which was a nice fish. There's been a few snook, snapper, jacks and mackerel also. So guys, handing back to you in the studio. This is Ben and Jake from down here in Costa Rica.
If you'd like to be a part of the weekly video fishing forecast, we're always looking for social media savvy anglers, whether you're from the beach, a tackle shop, a captain. Reach out to us, send me an email to mbroderick@thefisherman.com, and we might get you in the fold. Don't forget this video is available as a podcast on iTunes and Google Music. Search for the Fisherman Magazine podcast and subscribe so you can listen to this broadcast along with our other content. Another month almost in the books. We have fluke season in less than 2 weeks. There's stripers around, there's some flounder around. The weakfish showed up. There's weakfish around as well. Get out there and catch them. Looks like a beautiful weekend. We'll see you next week.